Sheriff Ryder has brought the snowambulance over just to show us one of the alternate vehicles that we can use anytime might be called out to the park or anywhere. Big thing to be aware that obviously this is rigged as the snowambulance right now, but as he was just explaining to some of us, this also gets transferred onto wheels. So one is rigged with wheels right now, so we can take it out in the field, on the trails, and obviously for winter conditions on skis. Mentioned before, this one's going to be transferred to wheels in the very near future.
Pretty soon. I don't think we're going to get enough snow to have to use it.
The skis again.
Yeah.
So we'll let him take the floor for a few minutes, show what it is, what it's not, what we can do, and also take a look at some of the other vehicles the county has, and the city or township of Dane has ATVs, things like that. So we'll review that real quick, and we'll probably pull out the longboard and just demonstrate how to lock it into place. And one key factor is we have to remember to bring either a spider strap or straps for this backboard. It has the seat belt in it to secure it to the vehicle, but nothing to have the patient onto the board itself. So if you can imagine the scenario where you're out in the woods, we've got this out there, probably are not going to have the ambulance very close at hand.
Been there, done that. Okay.
So, right, Mr. Experience here will also speak to that.
All right, if anybody wants to know the history of this, if you don't, I'm going to tell you anyway. This was purchased by the Dane County Council of Snowmobile Clubs. They felt a need for rescue in remote areas with some of the trails, because you can be out and not have a road crossing for 1.5 miles and be out there. So they had a little raffle and they bought this. It's about $6,300 for one of these. It's made out of polymer, which a lot of it I think is just recycled milk containers is what they make that from. It has room in for a person and 1 or 2 attendants. There's a little seat in there, a black seat. It folds up and there's a lever that pops up and holds it in place. If you ever get in and use it, please move the lever out of the way, because the other one, the attendant slammed the seat down and broke the lever off, so I got to buy a new one for it. One of the other features on it that aren't real good are the doors are riveted on. Okay, they tend to bounce around a lot. This has springs, and in transport the doors will actually come open. They just bounce right out of the holder, and I've already had to put in some screw settings with anchors in the other one because a couple of the rivets dropped off. It does have a heater. It will heat, but it's not the best heater in the world. So we're looking into getting some heat packs that we can carry in and just use as we go along. The light on it works real well, so at night that you need to see what you're doing, whatever it would be, you can switch that on, and that'll be good for you. Runs off 12-volt battery system. It also has a 4-flat hookup to plug into the tow machine, which can pretty much do the same thing. It runs off the battery on either the ATV or the snowmobile. The center of gravity on this on snowmobile is real good. It's low to the ground. The suspension acts real good. It's a soft ride, wouldn't you say? Yeah. And we were driving him around with a patient at about 25 miles an hour. So I didn't see you bouncing around at all. When they put the wheels on, because the wheels come in underneath here where the frame is on the side, its center of gravity is higher. So, and also the tow bar can hit the wheels of the machine, so we got to be a little more careful on the turning radius, whereas the snowmobile, it's real good on that. It's a standard hookup on the tow bar to it's not the big like you have on your truck, it's a smaller one, but it will fit in the big one too. It's just got pins. We just use a high strength pin for the thing. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it's nice. I mean, you found it good. Very good. Very good. It saved a lot of time.
How much does it weigh?
Well, shipping weight's about 800 pounds on it, and I think the crate was about 150 on that. So I mean, it's pretty heavy, this thing is. There's a lot of plastic in it and a lot of steel on the frame. So what we end up doing is to get this off, we get to the scene. Usually there's firemen there. We grab 4 of the firemen because they like to pick things up, and we just have them take it off. and set it on the ground, and we tell them don't leave till we get back, so that when they're done, they pick it up and put it back on the trailer. Because it doesn't slide on these skids at all. The wheel one is real easy, it just pushes in. This one is kept at Fish Camp County Park. McFarland Fire is agreed to, if we can't get there in a reasonable amount of time, they have a key to the boathouse, so we made a special lock that they will tow it to the scene, and if they have an Argo and a mule, that they can just hook it right up and take it out. We don't even need to be there, because the important thing is to get the person out of the woods in time. One thing I did find with this, we only have 600cc skidoos. I'm the old man in the patrol, so I got the long track. I like the nice ride, but it's not powerful enough to tow around 3 people. I mean, that machine has to work. So I'm going to be putting in for the 2012 budget to get a 4-stroke, like a touring, which will give it a capacity to seat 2 on it also, so that could be 2 attendants, 1 in here with the patient, 1 on the back of the machine. So yeah, but it's too much work for the sled, and I'm going to end up burning belts out, hauling things around on it.
Maybe a typical response from the time you get the call until the time it's actually pulled out of the shed?
Well, we've had 2 call-outs with the one up here, and I was like 2 miles away, and the guy that I work with was there, so we were able to hook it up, get over to the park, real reasonable amount of time. It depends on where we are, is what it's going to be.
The way to access this is through the communication center, obviously.
Yep, 911.
Right. So if we're on scene, find that we need it, it's a call through the comm center.
EMS, any EMS or fire can ask for it. It's a mutual aid thing, we just come. So, and like I said, if we can't get there in a reasonable amount of time, I'll have McFarland hook it up to their truck on this. Hopefully I'll have a better trailer than this. Because this one's just a little rusty. It's about 25 years old, so.
As many of us know, Dennis has already used this on one call, so if you want to kind of recap that call.
Yeah, well, we didn't know what we were getting into. I had called Middleton Fire because they have an ATV with a Stokes basket. And just remember that Wanakee does not have an ATV. Comm Center didn't know that. They were going to call out Wanakee Fire, and we had to tell them. Then we have to call Middleton Fire. And that thing got stuck. And we used the other one that's kept in Westport, out by where I live, actually. And that's the black one. But it worked great. I just grabbed what I could think of because I didn't know what was in there. I grabbed some hot packs, the bag of collars. Unfortunately, I forgot the scraps. I didn't even know there was a longboard in there. So, but I forgot what else. I think I jumped yet. And I hopped inside. By the way, the seat was down. I don't know if I broke it or not. The seat was down when I got in there.
Maybe it broke bouncing around. I mean, these springs, this thing bounces on the trailer.
But this thing worked great. You know, got out of the wind, and it was like 2 degrees that day. And she'd laid out there probably, well, she figured at least 45 minutes. She went cross-country skiing by herself at 2 degrees. I asked her, don't you have a cell phone? She said, yes, but I left it at home because I didn't want to lose it or break it. So somebody fortunately was skiing in there and heard her and found her and got 911, and then we couldn't find her for a while. So a couple of firemen walked up, and they finally found the person that found her, showed them where she was, and the ATV got stuck, and then these guys came, and boy, they really helped. So this is a great thing. It may have some faults, but sure saved the day that day.
So does the backboard only go on one side or the other? Is it negotiable?
It has anchor straps. If you get this in here, it anchors down with straps to go over the patient. It really can't move back because of this. It's not. I don't think it's the best system there is for doing it. It may be that we want to put in some kind of a lip into the thing so it doesn't slide around at all.
She did not
on
slide.
it.
Well, I was holding it, and we had her strapped in there enough. She did not slide at all on that thing.
What was
So
the
there's
nature?
enough room for you to kneel?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I was kind of holding the board and holding her.
What was the nature of her injury?
She had back pain. She probably definitely had a dislocated knee. Didn't know if she had any collar. We couldn't, we collared her because she
That's
didn't know
kind of where I was going. So
Yeah, and then when we got her to the ambulance, we did full mobilization.
and in that, you think the transport was good to keep her?
Yeah,
It's a
there's
lot
no-
better than carrying her out, obviously.
Yeah, we had no problem carrying her out. But this thing made it happen.
Another use that we pushed it for was if they have another interstate thing like they did, what was it, 2008 or 7, somewhere in there, and you need to, well, of course, transport somebody, or you need to bring water to somebody that's stranded, even though they're going to stay in place. I mean, you could throw a couple of EMTs and a case of water in here, and they could check on people. If they have any medical conditions, then you can get them out. So the whole goal was to get it and never have to use it, and we've used it twice. The second time was on a suicide that was way out in the middle of a farm field, and we went out with the coroner and picked him up.
I like my call better.
I do too, you know.
When did you get it? How long you had it?
We got this in December.
December?
Yeah, both of them came in December. Yep, 2010. Yeah. So it's got 2 good uses.
So when you age up, you need to either have a snowmobile or an ATV or request it. That doesn't automatically come with it.
No.
Well, this one doesn't come with a vehicle to tow it. The black one we keep in our big snowmobile trailer with our 3 machines on it. And one of them is set up. We had to buy a special tow bar, a real heavy-duty tow bar for it to put on, because otherwise the other one would bend and rip right off on the thing. So
That's the one in Westport.
yeah, and
That's the one we use.
I don't know what some fire departments used to have snowmobiles. I don't know if they still do or not. A lot of them.
So it's kind of a universal hitch that'll work for them.
Yeah, it's a universal hitch. When we get this all set up, the bar is going to be taken off. Then the other one, we took out the bolts and we just used high-strength hitch pins on it. So, because there's no room for the bar in the trailer, and it'd be the same on here. You notice I came in, I had it up. Well, that's kind of a weird spot to keep the thing. So as soon as we get a trailer, it's a 2-wide, so we can have one snowmobile in this or one ATV in this on it all the time. So it goes as the same unit. Then we'll take the thing off, and I'll have to find a place to keep the bar on the trailer too.
It's pretty good to use it twice in 2 months,
They
3 months.
they were both February,
Yeah.
so
They're both in
yep. I don't know how this works on the ice. So
Does it float?
no, no. I mean, that's one thing. It doesn't float. I may end up having to put some of those inflatable nebuluses in here so that if it go through, I mean, this thing's 700 pounds or 650 pounds. It's going to sink like a rock.
Have to
So-
slide your patient out real quick.
Yeah, and the only way you can get out is is out the side door, and the person that's on the gurney, I don't know how they're getting out. I mean, they're on a gurney, so